Mark Webber, Formula One driver for Red Bull, and he's good pals with Valentino Rossi, actually, with all these Aussie crew.
And he loves MotoGP very much. Now, Danny Pedrosa, what does he think? Well, again, you stick to your game plan. You try to get to the front as soon as you can. He hasn't got to think about Marc Marquez and injuries. He knows all about riding injured. He all knows all about how it can affect your championship chances. But 26 points between them is a big opportunity for Danny Pedrosa to really close that gap.
Jorge Lorenzo down with his posse. Lots of people on the grid here, all wanting a piece of the world champion as well, but he's going to stick in the music, get on the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or whoever he's with today, second in the championship.
Even fully fit Marquez, I think, what we've seen Lorenzo, I know you think he probably will win the race, and I think I agree with you.
You see, he hasn't won since Assen, that fateful weekend there, when he's off the back of 2 wins, and it looked oh so rosy. Even though he wasn't leading the World Championship, he was second at the time. And yeah, it's a big chance for him to maybe claw back some of the advantage that Marquez has in the championship. 44 points the gap.
Valentino Rossi, decent qualifying, second row of the grid, could be up there. Well, we wait to see. 4th in the championship. He's enjoyed his last couple of races, the end of the races, where he's had some really big battles for 4th place. He wants to get back on the podium. Decent form. He's been in the top 4 for the last, 5 races, including that win at Assen.
Hasn't quite been there all weekend, though, has it? And even although he's done better in qualifying than he has done recently, you have to say that he's finished in the top 4 in the last 6 races in a row. So maybe there is a chance now that Rossi, with Marquez out, could come up with something in the race. Not out, sorry, not Marquez, not out. Marquez injured.
Carl Crutchlow, typical weekend for Carl Crutchlow at Silverstone. Crashes, 2 crashes yesterday, a crash in the morning warm-up, and then that horrible incident with Marc Marquez, which luckily everybody walked away from virtually unscathed. And Andrea Dovizioso, his 100th MotoGP appearance, the top at Ducati, second here in 010 and 011, and winner at Donington Park in that last Premier Class race there at the British Grand Prix. Oh, I think everybody's catching their breath a bit. So much has gone on this morning, and it's almost like the crowd are as well. It is an intriguing situation. It could have a massive bearing on the championship, but if Marquez can pick up some decent points, can't imagine a race victory. Who knows? It's Alvaro Bautista, pole position last year for the Spanish rider in very, very different conditions. He's qualified in the middle of that 3rd row of the grid in 8th place.
Yeah, and again, he's improved recently, top 6, you say, for the last 4 races. So he's in a good vein of form, Alvaro.
This is Nicky Hayden, who completes that 3rd row of the grid on the Ducati. Decent form here, Nicky Hayden. 2 4ths and a 7th last year on the Ducati. And yeah, signing off with Ducati and MotoGP, certainly at Silverstone. Every chance, one would imagine, he will remain in MotoGP next year, the 2006 world champion. And again, very popular in this part of the world, as is Bradley Smith.
10th on the grid for Smith, who's again he has had a bit of a tough weekend, working through things a little bit, but pushed hard in warm-up this morning, set some decent lap times, and I wonder if he's found enough to enable him to challenge higher up and getting towards that top 6 again in his home race. That's got to be his aim week in, week out now.
It certainly has. Another rider with an injury, Aleix Espargaro, who's had such a fantastic season. Compound fracture of his little finger yesterday. One would imagine that would be painful. Probably bind them up together, won't they, the little finger and the one next to it, but how will it affect him? We'll find out.
Yeah, didn't look too bad. It's on he must be on his right hand then.
Yeah, it must be.
We were told, weren't we, yesterday, left hand.
Because he had no binding on there at all,
nothing whatsoever on his left hand there. So I'm assuming it was his right hand.
So he's qualified on that 4th row of the grid, 12th fastest, Aleix Espargaro. We just had a chat with Colin Edwards. He's finished in front of Aleix Espargaro again, 3rd here in 2011, just a week after breaking his collarbone. loved in Great Britain, probably more for those battles he had in the World Superbike Championship than anything else, but he's putting in a good case for continuing with the Forward Racing team next season, and Colin Edwards.
Sounds like they could be teammates, actually, Espargaro and Edwards.
Randy de Punier pushed quite hard, didn't he, yesterday? It was good to see, because he's had a wretched old time.
Yeah, it's not been the best Randy de Punier that we've seen so far this year. He's only finished 6 out of the races, all of those in the points, however, but 15th last time out. And you don't expect that from a former podium finisher in the Premier class.
Here he is, Hector Barbara. He's qualified on that 5th row of the grid, 14th fastest on that Avintia Bluesense machine. Of course, runner-up in the 250cc World Championship. Talk that he may go to World Superbike. It'd be interesting to see where Hector Barbara ends up next year. But he's got the small matter of round 12 all the way through to 18 this year round.
Michele Pirro in once more as a replacement for Ben Spies. Still no word on when Ben will be back, but we wish him all the best from over here. And Pirro in once more. He's campaigning on that bike this year, but it's a tall order, having to test as well and then come out and race on a different bike, because he's been, of course, testing their development machine.
Smiling Andrea Iannone, not the best of her qualifying for him. 6th row of the grid, 16th fastest, really recovering from a series of injuries, and just wants to pile in some points. Here's a man who's got a big wallet at the moment, because he can either pay a lot of money to Paul Bird, Yoni Hernandez. What's that? 3 crashes this weekend, isn't it? Yeah, so they can see Birdie just behind him on the grid. And he's made that team work. They've got a fancy hospitality, but the mechanics won't have been eating in there this weekend. 2 crashes yesterday morning in similar style to Cal Crutchlow for Yoni Hernandez, and another crash in the warm-up this morning, again similar to Cal Crutchlow. So 5 minutes to go before the off. Really big crowd here at Silverstone, which is so pleasing for everybody involved in the British Grand Prix. And we've already had plenty of excitement here. What will this round bring? Will it close the gap? How fit is Marc Marquez, starting from pole position after his crash this morning? All will be revealed. So they start to filter people off the grid now. Not long to go, just under 5 minutes before the start of the race. And tense moments. What will Marc Marquez be able to do? What's he going to be capable of? Now they have gone all 3 on the front row with the harder option tyres. All on the fronts, all on the rear. Well, they certainly did that, didn't they, in the 4th practice session yesterday, but I didn't know if the conditions were as warm as they were yesterday. Well, that's what I was going to say, Dylan. To me, it was really bright before they came out, but now they're on the grid, a few clouds have gathered over. We do have a few clouds, but it does actually still feel quite warm, to be honest. Track temperature, we are looking around 30, a little bit more. Yesterday in FP4, it was around the 32 to 34, so teams must be thinking, look, those 2 or 3 degrees aren't sufficient enough to change compounds, so they look to be going with what they tested yesterday then. Well, Lorenzo was quick very consistently yesterday on that tyre. Interestingly, Stefan Bradl going with the softer option. So your front row for the Hertz British Grand Prix today. On the outside, home rider Cal Crutchlow. Reigning champ Lorenzo in second, but after a big crash this morning, Marc Marquez lines up in pole. So a warm welcome back to Silverstone. It's round 12 of the MotoGP World Championship. I'm Nick Harris, sitting alongside me, Gavin Emmett. Down in pit lane, Dylan Gray. Marquez, how fit will he be? He dislocated his collarbone this morning. He's been popped back in. He's got pain-killing injections in it, but he's riding with Lorenzo and Crutchlow alongside. Bradl on the softer rear tyre, with Pedrosa and Rossi also on row 2. Row 3, Andrea Dovizioso, Alvaro Bautista and Nicky Hayden. Row 4, local boy Bradley Smith, Colin Edwards, top CRT biker, Aleix Espargaro riding with a broken finger. Randy de Punier heads up the 5th row with Barbara and Pirro in as Ben Spies' replacement once more. And it's Iannone, Hernandez and Danilo Petrucci on the 6th row of the grid. Michael Laverty, the 3rd Brit in this race, on row 7 with Corti and Aoyama, and then Lucas Peszek and Brian Starring bringing up the rear in 23rd place. No Carol Abraham yet again, because he injured himself in Brno and decided it's best to rest, and I think that's a good decision from the Czech rider. We're almost ready to go. 20 laps of the longest Grand Prix venue in the 18-race calendar. Marc Marquez in pole position, but riding with a damaged collarbone. He has a 26-point lead in the championship over his teammate Dani Pedrosa, who starts from the second row. A 44-point lead over Jorge Lorenzo, who starts from the middle of that front row of the grid, which is completed by British rider Cal Crutchlow, who's crashed 3 times this weekend.
So you can see the temperatures and the track temperature as well at the start of the race. Not the hottest it's been, but it's certainly not the coolest. It was this morning when we saw a huge crash for Marc Marquez down at Vale Corner. He dislocated his collarbone. He's had it replaced, but how fit is he going to be? How much strength is there in that shoulder, even with the pain-killing injection? How loose is it in there? Dylan, a final word on the atmosphere and how it is before this race.
Absolutely brilliant. This grid was so packed, and as you can imagine, most of it round Marc Marquez. I think, no, it's going to be set for a great race. Big crowd here. Absolutely ideal. Interesting
second row, isn't it, Gav? You know, Stefan Bradl with that softer option. If he can get in with the leaders, you've got to fancy him to get away a bit at the front. Pedrosa, such an electric starter, and Rossi qualified well.
Yeah, the thing is, he will have that soft tyre at the start of the race, but they do say both those tyres are fairly interchangeable, so you'd expect him maybe to have an edge in this start, and he needs to make his start count, Bradl. He's not out of a shot of a podium. How much will it drop off? Will the hard tyre work well enough in the early stages? So Bradl's got to be an outside bet for being up there.
There's a lot of questions being asked before the start of this race, and it's only after 20 laps of the Silverstone circuit we are going to have them answered. This promises to be perhaps the most intriguing Grand Prix of the season so far.
On board with Jorge Lorenzo as he comes up towards Brooklands. He's almost racing on this warm-up lap as they go down into Brooklands, then into Luffield. He's pushing the pace hard just to make sure there's enough heat in those tyres. Of course, with the harder option tyres, they need to make sure they're brought completely up to temperature. Otherwise, we'll have more spills that we've already had far too many of this weekend.
The crowd wait. People back in the pits wait. This is a big race as far as the championship goes. How fit is number 93, Marc Marquez, as he chases his 5th successive Grand Prix victory of the season. A massive crash in the morning warm-up, dislocated his shoulder. He is out there racing, but this is 20 laps. This is going to be tough. Good afternoon from Silverstone. I'm Nick Harris. Alongside me, Gavin Emmett. Down in pit lane, Dylan Gray. This is round 12 of the MotoGP World Championship at the Silverstone circuit in England. Front row, Marquez, Lorenzo and Crutchlow.
Lights out. Lorenzo gets a great start from the second row. He recently has become the whole shot king, and he's done it again up into the lead. And Rossi up into 3rd place on the inside of Cal Crutchlow. Crutchlow pushed a little bit wide. Dani Pedrosa has had a shocking start. I know he's been on the second row, but you expect him to be right up there, and he's even behind Crutchlow. He's dropped a spot down into 6th.
What a start from Jorge Lorenzo. I think we expected that. Marquez, we didn't know what to expect, but he's going to trail Jorge Lorenzo as they come onto the hangar straight for the first time, down towards Stowe Corner. Remember, Lorenzo made that blistering start in Bruno, but Marquez is right with him. Pedrosa trying to fight his way through. Here comes Bradl up into 3rd place.
Bradl through on Rossi. It looked like going into Stowe Corner. As you say, he's got that softer option rear tyre. Cal Crutchlow again in the early laps, coming under pressure from Dani Pedrosa. He threw on him, but struggling with a full fuel tank. That's where Marc Marquez had the crash earlier on.
There is Pedrosa, there is Cal Crutchlow. The 2 Spaniards out at the front, just building up a little bit of an advantage as they come into Abbey first time round.
Alvaro Bautista thinking about going through on the inside of Crutchlow. It's not been the ideal start to the race for the Brit. He needed to get away with the front couple. Bautista thought about going through on the inside. It's not to be as they come into Village, the tightest section on the circuit. And it looks like it will be a head-to-head between Lorenzo and Marquez. And Marquez looked strong early on as Bautista goes through on Crutchlow. Can Crutchlow come back on the inside of Bautista? He does so.
Onto the running straight for the first time, down towards Brooklands, over the bumps. Lorenzo leads from Marquez. Bradl Valentino Rossi, Danny Pedrosa, Battista again up the inside of Cal Crutchlow. Can he make it stick this time round?
Softer rear tyre for Bautista, so he's going to be strong in these early stages, as is Bradley Smith, just behind Crutchlow, but you don't want to lose the time now, or your podium opportunities could be going, Cal Crutchlow. At the front, Rossi is up in fourth, Bradl now into third, in second place is Marc Marquez, but they're all chasing Jorge Lorenzo, with the two Spaniards, Lorenzo and Marquez, pulling away from Bradl.
Well, it is a case now of just how strong that collarbone is for Marc Marquez. Can he run this sort of pace? Does he want to run this sort of pace? He's got a 44-point lead in the championship over Lorenzo. Pedrosa would be the one he's worried about, and Pedrosa's beginning to make his mark.
Yeah, and it's not like Danny not to make a great start. He usually flies off, and he's dropped back a position from his grid spot, so now he's got through and he's up into fourth place, past Valentino Rossi now. Rossi thought about going back through on the inside, but Pedrosa slowly winding things up.
We ride with Danny Pedrosa. That is Valentino Rossi right behind him, down towards the Vale corner that's caused so many problems during the morning warm-up. Lorenzo leads the way. There is the battle between Pedrosa, Rossi, and just tucked in behind them, Alvaro Bautista. Past the old start and finish into Abbey. Lorenzo, we know, will just run these laps off time after time. Lucas Pešek down. Second crash in succession for the Czech rider from the Czech Republic.
So at the front, Lorenzo now into his rhythm. Yesterday, he churned out lap after lap in the 202s on that hard option tyre. What can he do? What sort of pace can he set? You'd think that only Marquez or Pedrosa perhaps could match him.
Surely the shoulder will go off at some point, strength-wise. It's a big opportunity for Danny Pedrosa. He'd be bitterly disappointed with that start. He's going well now.
Yeah, and remember, Bautista pressuring Rossi, but they have to make these early laps count because Bautista and Bradl have gone with the softer option tyre.
Here we go. There is Valentino Rossi. Alvaro Bautista behind him. Up towards Copse they come.
Lorenzo, a new lap record by 7/10 of a second, a 202.1. Marquez, a 202.3. Bradl, 202.6. 2.4 for Rossi. 2 minutes 3 for Rossi.
A little bit further down, Crutchlow is 7th. Bradley Smith 8th. Dovizioso and Hayden, the two Ducatis, 9th and 10th. We look for Michael Lafferty, currently running in 21st place. Difficult one to call this, because as you say, Bradl and Bautista, their tyres will go off towards the end of the race.
Bautista was only 6,000 slower than Lorenzo on that last lap. So Bautista is motoring now through on Rossi into 5th place, and he just has to make these count and keep going, because there will come a point where you think that harder tyre has the durability.
Lorenzo knows what he's got to do. This is what he's best at, just grinding out those fast laps. Come on, Marquez. Let's see how that shoulder is. Let's see if you can stay with me. I'm going to grind these laps out every single time. In
free practice 4, the kind of warm-up for qualifying, it's a half-an-hour session. He put in 13 laps, every single one in the 202s, just showing that he was able to do it. He could do it.
Difficult for Danny Pedrosa, isn't it? He wants to get past Bradl. Bradl is on that softer compound tyre. OK, he will get past him probably in the end, but he's got to get past him now as the two at the front are going to clear off.
You already have it. So the gap is now out to 2.1 seconds between Bradl and Marquez. Pedrosa thought about it, but Bradl has enough on the brakes.
Yeah, he's got to take a big risk, I think, Danny Pedrosa, and just find his way through. And, of course, as you say, he's got Bautista right behind him. It's very, very hard for Danny Pedrosa, but this is his big opportunity with Marquez riding with that injured shoulder. At the moment, though, it's not working out. We ride with Bradl through Woodcote.
Marquez down into the 201s, 201.996. How long can this last? A bit wide from Bradl. That's going to allow Pedrosa through at Copse, and he makes sure that he knows he's there. Bradl's going to try and fight back into Maggot, but no. Pedrosa hangs on to 3rd.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting in the next couple of laps to see Pedrosa's lap times. Now he's got through, wasn't he? Has he got any chance of catching those two at the front? And where does it come from Marquez? Everything Lorenzo does Marquez just seems to be able to match it. Yeah, just running a bit wide, Bradle, and he really made sure there was no way back at him, didn't he, Dani Pedrosa? That's the way he's got to ride if he's going to get near those two at the front.
Well, the gap is 2.6 seconds. That's a lot, especially when Marquez has just done a 2:01.9, a second quicker than Bradle and 6/10 quicker than Pedrosa.
We've seen him win his first Grand Prix. We've seen him ride in the MotoGP class. We've seen him ride for the first time in the wet. Now we're seeing him ride injured. Just doesn't seem to make any difference to him. There is a long way to go, but an amazing performance again by Marc Marquez. Lorenzo must be looking at his board and thinking, what have I got to do to shake him off? The next thing is, you know the next thing he's going to do, don't you? He's going to take the lead, isn't he? He's eyeing him up all the time now.
Down the Wellington straight, we're on board with Jorge Lorenzo. Marquez will have the edge on top speed, you'd have thought. If they brake hard for Brooklands. A few bumps in there you have to be wary of. There's that number 93. Almost stuck onto the rear wheel of Lorenzo. Lorenzo a little bit of a wide line, but he's just trying to carry as much corner speed as possible through there.
Great on-board stuff. The world champion against the world champion-elect.
Wow, a lap from Pedrosa now that he's free of the shackles from Bradle. He goes through and sets a new fastest lap of the race, a new lap record from Dani Pedrosa, a 2:01.9. He's trying to close down on the leaders as quick as he can.
I knew he would do that once he got through. This is such an opportunity for Dani Pedrosa. Can we make it yet another three-way battle at the front? How strong is Marc Marquez? Lorenzo, we know, he'll just churn these out. Big incentive now for Dani Pedrosa. He's now 95% fit. He knows all about collarbone injuries.
Felt he left it too late in Brno. Made the move and still felt he had enough in to have a go. However, already Marquez just had a bit too much of a gap to claw back.
Down in the club corner they come, halfway through the lap, so there'll be 15.5 laps to go. 0.0 Marquez. That means he's right behind you or he's alongside you. That's probably why Lorenzo needs to really know that into Abbey Curve. I remember Lorenzo crashing out there in the rain a couple of years ago in the MotoGP race, not this time, as they come into the fast left hand of the farm curve. This is where the Honda should have the advantage here, I think, isn't it? As they come through Village, through the loop, and back into the Brooklyn straight.
So well, I don't know, this is where the Honda needs to get its acceleration down, though. And could squirt out of those corners. And it gets very slow as it does in there. That's the one part of the track where the Honda may have the edge, but around the rest of it, just that smooth riding style of Lorenzo, you think it'd be made for a track like Silverstone.
Into Love Field, then into the world-famous right-hander that brings you back into the start and finish straight. This could be the last lap. It could be like this on the last lap. Then who knows what will happen. They cross the line. 15 laps to go. Round 12, the MotoGP World Championship.
Pedrosa chipped half a second out of their lead as he set another fastest lap of the race. Pedrosa is really pushing hard to get close to them. Bradle and Bautista battling for 4th and 5th. Rossi not able to keep touch with him at the moment, but it will come, you feel. Crutchlow himself is 1.7 seconds down, and I think just confidence knocked from Cal Crutchlow. And Bradley Smith having a good race, only 2 seconds down on his teammates.
Yeah, and the two Ducatis, Nicky Hayden 9th and 10th respectively. Elisha Spargo doing all right despite that finger injury.
Smith wasn't there at the top of the picture then, just coming through. I didn't see him anyway. You could see Crutchlow come through. I was looking for Smith in the distance, but maybe I just missed it in the top of the screen.
This is the battle between the two riders using that softer compound rear tyre. That is Stefan Bradle and Alvaro Bautista. Valentino Rossi behind them has gone with a harder option, so should come stronger. It's a battle for 4th place at the moment.
So have a look as they come through at the top of the screen. You can see Crutchlow come through. And yeah, he's okay, he's still there. Just must have been out of the camera shot. Here is Pedrosa now. What's the gap? 1.1. All this work, though, how much will it take out of his tyre? Has gone with that harder option.
Yeah, it's a great battle for 4th place.
Bautista.
This is the way you'd expect them to be, really, isn't it? Bautista and Bradley.
Bautista threw on it.
Yeah.
Wonder if that was into Abbey or something.
Important race for both of them. These are the leaders into Brooklands. Marquez looks pretty comfortable in there in 2nd place at the moment. The painkillers are obviously doing a good job, but how much strength does it take out of the shoulder?
Being told Pedrosa's back in the hunt now, and I don't think Lorenzo will mind too much. He's got a very steady pace going on here. Down to 202.6 is another 201 from Pedrosa. 201.94 this time.
As you say, though, how much of the tyres is he using up? Marquez sits in behind Lorenzo. He'll know that they're pulling him along at a very good pace, but Dani Pedrosa trying to join in with them, make it a 3-way battle at the front. It's a big, big race for Dani Pedrosa. He trails, of course, Jorge Lorenzo in the championship by 26 points. Lorenzo, 44 points down in the championship. Just keep dragging that pace along, keep reeling those laps out.
It's under a second. This will be where he'll just get really close to them now, because it's down to 0.8 even. So every time they go into a braking area, he can gauge and just take another metre here, a metre there, and chip away at their lead, and it will get easier from now on in. Iannoni's got through on Espargaro, who is top CRT. They're having a good battle, and Colin Edwards is 13th place, scrapping with Hector Barbara ahead of Pirro, who's taking up the last championship point ahead of Petrucci de Punier, who will be disappointed to be out of the points. Corti, Aoyama, Hernandez, then Laverty 21st, Starring 22nd.
Through the farm curve, they come into the village section, down towards the loop, slowest section on the circuit. We're back now looking at this battle for 4th place.
You see how Rossi is coming into it a bit now. Closed up on Bradl. He was 3/10 quicker than Bautista, 6/10 quicker than Bradl, and it will close up. Just wonder if Crutchlow behind him can do anything as well.
It's the Yamaha against the 2 Hondas at the front. Dani Pedrosa right in there now. How much has he used of the tyres? How fit is he? But we talk about fitness, we talk about Marc Marquez, and he's looked very, very comfortable indeed in 2nd place. Don't forget, he chases that 5th successive Grand Prix win. Stage is set for an unbelievable finish. We're not even halfway through here, round 12 of the championship of the British Grand Prix.
Pedrosa's pace suggests to me that that he can close up like he has done. Suggests they can go quicker at the front, both Lorenzo and Marquez, but it's just a case of that's a decent enough pace for Marquez not to need to make a move. And you saw Pedrosa there, 202.1. He can be comfortable, he can have a rest. He's going to have to do a couple of laps now, sat in the slipstream a bit of Marquez.
Sometimes when it really comes to the scrap at the end, Pedrosa is not quite of the same ilk, you'd say, of Marquez and Lorenzo. I don't know. But if he's going to do it, this is the race to do it, to pull back that advantage. We are right with Stefan Bradl. That's Valentino Rossi really beginning to hassle him now.
Yeah. Just have a see at the leaders there. I thought Rossi may have got through on Bradl. Could have been looking back from Bautista's bike. We'll have a see. If you see it just to the top of the picture, no, still just behind him. He was right up with him through the last split. 13 laps to go. How is that collarbone for Marc Marquez? The crash in the morning warm-up dislocated it. He's had it popped back in. Oof. He's riding, and he's riding absolutely brilliantly in 2nd place. But Pedrosa and Lorenzo can smell blood. Yes, they can. And they want to take as much out of Marquez, kick him while he's down, really. They can smell blood. What a perfect way of saying it. This is their big, big opportunity to inflict a rare defeat on Marc Marquez. Good ride by Alvaro Bautista. Rossi again into Brooklands. Thinks about Bradl. Bradl and Bautista's tyres will go off, but as you say, there's not that biggest difference between the harder option and the softer option, is there? Surely before the end of the race, it will help Valentino Rossi. It could well be another 4th place for Valentino Rossi, couldn't it? His 3rd in a row. Well, Lorenzo leading them through Copse. Marquez and Pedrosa still tucked in behind him. Got back to Pedrosa, 3.7 seconds. Bradl now nearly a second behind Bautista with Rossi just in his wake.
There we go, there is Stefan Bradl, winner here in 2011 in the Moto2 class, when he went on to win the World Championship. Bautista was in pole position here last year, and Rossi riding the Yamaha here for the very first time, missing out in 2010. Didn't ride here, but he broke his leg at Mugello. Rossi is very, very close indeed now. He's going to come out of the slipstream as they come into Stowe. Bradl not making life easy for the 9 times world champion.
Honda's good under braking, as we know. This is through the corner where Rossi can close right up once more. Can he conjure something up going down towards Vale? Yes, he is. Here he goes on the inside. He'll have to go deep. Bradl will try and come back round the outside. And yes, Rossi had to go through, trying to block the line for Bradl. And as he did so, he ran it wide.
Will Rossi fight back immediately as they come up towards Abbey? This is a difficult place to overtake. He does. Rossi up the inside of Abbey. Listen to the crowd.
Yeah, but he's going to run it wide. He will have the inside line for Farm. Brave from Bradl. Really brave indeed. It's helping Bautista get away, this.
He doesn't want to throw away 5th place, Stefan Bradl. He's doing a Rossi on Rossi. If you get overtaken, immediately fight back. He's done exactly that. Back at the front, Lorenzo Marquez. I think you're right, Pedrosa, just taking a breather, just assessing the situation after getting back up with the front men.
Through Brooklands into Luffield. Hard on the gas now, up a couple of gears as they go hard through Woodcote. Wonder now if there's a mapping change, perhaps.
That's just what I was going to say. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think you're probably right. I was racking my brains to think what that could mean. Probably only Danny Pedrosa and the team. A bit like when you watch the baseball, the bloke behind the bat makes a sign and they know what it means. Nobody else does. But they've told him something. There's no doubt about that. Rossi, he's desperate to get past Stefan Bradl. Bradl is not going to succumb easily, as Rossi found out a couple of times on that previous lap.
Yeah, may have a couple of settings now that are only give him a certain amount of power so he doesn't use up too much fuel in this middle part of the race, things like that. You can't say exactly what it would be, but he's obviously had to put on a burst, hasn't he? So maybe the team thinking, right, we need to save something for the latter stage. Not only in terms of tyres, but fuel as well. They'll be close on it. The Yamahas will be particularly close on fuel.
That's a great start by Lorenzo. He almost touched Marquez as they left the line.
Look how well he got away.
Yeah, look at that. Oof,
whole shot Jorge now.
Yeah. Just like Bruno, wasn't he? He did exactly the same.
When he knows that's what he needs to do, he can do it. He just produces it. Out of nowhere. Look how close they got coming away. As if to say, elbow out, as if to say,
how's the collarbone? Let's give you a little bit of a shake-up right from the word go.
Yeah.
Oof. Fabulous stuff. This is racing of the very, very highest level. 3 Spanish riders, let's say, are absolutely dominating the championship this year. When you see them ride like this, for all the different reasons, you realise why they dominate the championship.
It's 4 Spaniards at the front as well now, because Bautista is comfortably in 4th place. Rossi has got through on Bradl once more, and I think this time he may have been able to make it stick, but so far away in the back of the picture, we can't quite see.
Pedrosa's had his breather, hasn't he? He's altered the mapping or whatever he had to do, and he's beautifully placed in 3rd place now, Danny Pedrosa. Into Copse they go. Sorry, through Woodcote they go. There'll be 10 laps to go. Now into Copse. Bright sunshine here at Silverstone.
I'm impressed by Marquez here. Blood coursing through his veins. The painkillers will all start to wear off at some point. We're at the halfway point. 10 down, 10 to go.
There's Cal Crutchlow. Disappointing for him. I think the 3 big crashes in the end just taking their toll. And Bradley Smith with his usual mates, isn't it? The 2 Ducati boys, Dovizioso and Hayden. And then Alessio Spargo riding with that broken finger. But once again, the top CRT bike.
Ooh, Marquez thought about going through. He said the Honda looks strong into Stowe. Lorenzo, a wider line. Will try and get the apex late on. Different lines for the 2 different machines there. You can see Marquez can get it deeper into the corner and able to bring it out, whereas Lorenzo will have to perhaps break that bit earlier, but will carry more speed around the corner. It's classic stuff.
It is absolute classic Grand Prix racing. 9.5 laps to go. Into Abbey they come. Different styles, different ways because the bikes are different. Lorenzo still leads the way. We ride with Dani Pedrosa, and that is Marc Marquez sandwiched between the pair of them.
Well, the great thing to see as well, if you look into the stands around here, they're full. They're full around all this section. And as they come onto the back straight again, the stand, you'll see coming up to the right, coming into the Wellington Straight as well, packed to the rafters with fans.
Under the bridge they come down towards Brooklands. They're really making a move at the moment, but Marc Marquez thought about it into Brooklands. That's the first time he has really just shown a little bit. Is he a bit worried about Dani Pedrosa behind him?
Just when he did that, I put my hand to my collarbone. Just have a think about it. He dislocated that this morning.
When he went into Vale on the last lap when we were riding with him, I closed my eyes for a minute. I really did. We really don't want anything more to happen.
Well, Pedrosa has been able to be comfortable there after that burst of laps. The pace 2:02.8 from Lorenzo and Marquez, 2,000 separating their times, and Pedrosa 2:02.7, nothing to choose between them. I would not like to pick which way this race will go. Pedrosa thought he left it too late in Brno. Will he make the same mistake again? Will he have learned from it? Can he do anything about it?
What a fabulous replay. The three best motorcycle racers in the world in slow motion. It doesn't get a lot better than that, I can promise you. Lorenzo, Marquez, and Dani Pedrosa. It's difficult, isn't it? Lorenzo would churn out the laps. Marquez, we don't know how fit he is. Pedrosa looks very, very sprightly in third place. He looks like he's up for the fight today, doesn't he? And as you say, he said in Brno, I didn't strike quick enough. I think he's going to have a go at Marquez pretty soon. Buoyed
by the fact that he's dragged this chance of a win back. He was 2.5 seconds down at one point, and they've come back into his clutches. What has he got in reserve, though? Nakamoto watching on. He knows he needs to finish ahead of Marquez. Whatever happens, bring that gap back underneath the magic 25-point barrier. It's currently 26 between Marquez and Pedrosa.
And with many other people say, how hard does Marquez want to fight, you know, with that injured collarbone? But it's Marc Marquez. He won't be giving that a thought. I'm sure it's painful, but he won't be giving it a thought. Down they come. Down towards Brooklands, down the Wellington Straight. There's just over 8 laps remaining into Brooklands and then into Luffield.
Around the long loop of Luffield they go. Into 5th quickly, isn't it, for Lorenzo as he fires it through Woodcut corner, just showing you how fast they do go through there. We're talking about 150 miles per hour.
Through Copse, 8 to go, down towards this fabulous section, Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel.
Absolutely nothing to choose between the three Spaniards in this race. Could go any way of 3. Lorenzo leading still. Marquez there in 2nd. Pedrosa in 3rd. Pick the name out of the hat you think is going to win.
Yeah. 99, 93, 26. It's a game of bingo. Wait for the numbers to be called out. Down they come towards Stoke corner. Marquez almost gets up the inside of Lorenzo.
He did get up the inside of Lorenzo, but Lorenzo, as we say, carries that extra bit of speed into the corner and closes over the front of Marquez. Pedrosa, can he take advantage of it now? Marquez gets all kinds of out of shape coming into Vale corner, where he crashed this morning and dislocated his shoulder, don't forget.
Through Club, halfway through the lap, 7.5 to go. Up towards Abbey Kerr they come. The top 3 riders in the World Championship fighting it out here at Silverstone. Lorenzo, Marquez and Pedrosa.
Just behind, Rossi isn't closing in at all on Bautista at the moment. It's out to 1.8. The gap was at 1.5.
First row look at Cal Crutchlow. It's been a tough old weekend for Cal. Running 7th in this race. Big crash in the morning warm-up. 2 crashes yesterday. Started from the front row of the grid, but I think it's just taken a toll on his body more than anything else. Nobody knows where this one's going to end as they come down towards Brooklands.
Well, Marquez will have seen Pedrosa there as they came down towards the corner. 3 completely different styles, in fact, going into Brooklands and then into Luffield. Just like a concertina, it went up in different parts then. And still Lorenzo's going to lead them across the line, but Pedrosa is thinking about getting through on Marquez.
Yeah, I think he feels he can't leave it so late this time. But of course, Marquez in turn at Stowe really had a look up the inside of Lorenzo. All Lorenzo can do is keep churning them out at the front, isn't it?
He will, and he's just upped the pace a bit more. 202.5 again on the last couple of laps from all three of them. Everything Lorenzo can do at the moment, the Hondas are matching.
Yeah, he's varying it, isn't he? He's trying just to see, can I push them to the limit? Can I cause them to make a mistake? At the moment, he can't, because it's number 93 right in his face as they race at well over 200 miles an hour down towards Stowe.
Look at the top speed there as well of the Honda. Fastest part on the circuit in terms of the top speeds. Marquez went through at 320 kilometres an hour, just about 200 miles per hour. Lorenzo went through at 311 as if he was early on the brakes, just easing himself into the corner.
Into the club corner they come. It's half a lap gone, so that'll be 6.5 to go. Little short straight into Abbey. Somebody's going to have a make a move soon, or are they at the limit? Can they not make a move?
I think they can. Not saying Lorenzo doesn't have anything to respond, but I think they can. You see his front tyre off the ground coming through turn one there. Marquez gets close in the tighter section around the loop. Now into Aintree. And into the back straight, the Wellington straight. Marquez is going to attack Kenny down in Brooklyn. This time Pedrosa not close enough. Marquez takes an inside line, but Lorenzo again has far too much corner speed and can loop around in front of him.
Superb, isn't he, through this section, Jorge Lorenzo?
This is intriguing stuff to watch.
Through Woodcut, remember Barry Sheen and Kenny Roberts there all the way back in 1979. This is just as close. Yeah, I think he knows you want him to try very hard. 6 laps to go. Marquez closing up at Cops Corner.
Heroic stuff from Marc Marquez as he keeps tabs on Lorenzo, keeps him honest. On that last lap, Lorenzo at 202.3, Marquez at 202.3, but Pedrosa 202.5. Just labouring a touch to stick with them. They're all on the same tyre option, medium front, medium rear, which are the harder option tyres.
Has Pedrosa used up a lot of tyre to get up with them because he had to work hard after that bad start? We're going to find out very soon. He's had a couple of
nibbles.
He has. Nothing too serious at the moment, but he's going to have a go. He's not going to settle for 20 points, is it?
Lorenzo has been saving something here because the pace is upping. Pedrosa is just struggling to keep in touch with them as they come around Club Corner now into the old back straights.
As if he's saying, isn't it, come on then, boys, let's see if you can really run the sort of pace we're putting up now. It's Dovizioso and Hayden still chasing after Bradley Smith and helping Bradley Smith as they did in Indianapolis by getting in each other's way.
Well, I think Dovizioso, though, will fancy his chance of going through on Smith, but who knows? Will Hayden come back at him? I wouldn't be surprised the way they've been racing at each other all year.
This is into Abbey, so there's a 5.5 laps to go. This is the battle for 8th place. And it's been a battle we've seen so often this season. Bradley Smith on the Tech 3 Yamaha fighting with the 2 factory Ducatis of Dovizioso. He's got a great record here. And Nicky Hayden, who has actually got a good record, as is Smith. 2 podium finishes here.
Holding it in around the loop and into Aintree. This is where you think the Ducati would have the edge. Accelerating out down the Wellington straight, then perhaps into Brooklands. The Yamaha will have the edge. Dovizioso out of shape a little bit. That kind of wobble can upset things at the front end, but he's okay. At the front, still Lorenzo leads from Marquez. Pedrosa 0.6 down. Lorenzo 202.2. Marquez 2.3. Pedrosa 2.5. So Lorenzo has got the hammer down. He's pushing hard at the front of this race. We watch Smith with the 2 Ducatis.
Bradley Smith still leads the way. 5 laps to go. He's in 8th place, but at the front, Lorenzo's got his throttle open. Marquez is there. Are they beginning to drop Danny Pedrosa, who's had to work so hard to get up with them? How is Marc Marquez's shoulder?
Has he got something he can use to attack Lorenzo, who's brought the real weapon to the party today? and is continuing to up the pace. He has been saving himself. He has limited his laps in the middle portion of the race to make sure that as he gets to the end, they can see the comparison in lap times, that he can start pulling out laps nobody can match. Di Pedrosa used too much tyre, having to close up on the leaders. An uncharacteristic slow start for Pedrosa could have cost him.
This is absolutely classic Jorge Lorenzo. This is how he wins 2 250cc world titles, how he's win 2 MotoGP world titles. And I do think Marquez is the only one that's going to match him now in this race.
Shot of Marquez's tyre. See little bits of rubber flying off here and there as the tyres start to fade away.
He hasn't broken him, has he, in any way at all? He might be up in the pace. Marquez says, I can come along with it.
Down that straight, you expect the Honda to get close. Marquez will start sliding that rear. Look at it, just step out slightly as he comes into the start-finish straight. So Lorenzo, 202.6, Marquez 2.5, Pedrosa 2.4, so it's all change again.
Yeah, we may have done Danny Pedrosa a bit of a disservice. He's coming back into the battle. Beckett's, Maggots and Chappell, all famous names in British motorsport, and being absolutely lit up with these Grand Prix motorcycle riders.
Rossi is starting to close considerably now on Bautista. Yet again, these two could be about to clash on track. On that previous lap, Rossi was half a second quicker than Bautista, who of course went with a soft option tyre. Rossi went with a hard, and I think Rossi may well have him before the end of this race. Not perhaps down at Stowe this time, but sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I've had 2 great battles in the last 2 races. Bautista and Rossi. Rossi's come out on top on both occasions. You get the feeling he may well do that again. So it would be yet another 4th place for Valentino Rossi. He's not there yet. He's running 5th. We've got 3.5 laps to go.
And a few technical problems with Dylan in pit lane down there, so we'll try and sort that out as soon as we can. As Bautista leading through in front of Rossi through Abbey Curve, then into Farm, and yeah, it's closing all the time. Rossi's been strong in the latter stages of races recently, just can't do it with a full fuel tank. It's very hard work for him.
Onto the Wellington straight they come. Less than 3.5 laps to go. This is the battle for 4th place. Alvaro Bautista, former 125cc world champion, 9 times world champion. Valentino Rossi closes up at Brooklands. Then Luffield just goes on and on and on and gets quicker and quicker into Woodcut. And then the start and finish line. Listen to the crowd cheering on Valentino Rossi, the air horns and the cheers of the crowd. 3 laps to go for the leaders. 3 laps to go now for Bautista and Rossi.
And for the leaders, again, as they were, still nothing to choose between them. Similar lap times as well on that go-round. Stefan Bradl will be a little bit disappointed with how his race is ending, as will Cal Crutchlow, who actually is going to finish worse than last year, as he did with a broken ankle. Bradley Smith has succumbed to Andrea Dovizioso. Has he got anything left to give?
Yeah, right behind him also Nicky Hayden, top CRT biker, Lacia Spargo, brave ride by him, riding with that broken little finger. Another super ride by Espargaro. Now at the front. This is it. 3 laps. Let's focus on this one. Lorenzo has led from start to finish. Marquez has been second from start to finish. Pedrosa's had to work very, very hard to get there.
Here is Rossi at Vale on the inside of Bautista. Now Bautista will try and come back round on the inside here, just as Bradl did to Rossi earlier in the race, but Bautista's gone behind. Now they've clashed a couple of times over the last few races. Has Bautista got anything left in the tank to give? Can he fight back anywhere? Will it be into the loop section at the front? Battle still raging. Marquez trying to get through on the inside of Lorenzo.
He hasn't broken Marquez in any way at all. He won't be thinking about the collarbone now. He'll be thinking about winning his 5th Grand Prix in succession. Under the bridge, down to Brooklands they come, over the bumps. Here comes Marquez. Is Marquez going to take the lead? Side by side, Marquez leads the race.
Well, he forced Lorenzo to sit up going into Brooklands, but Lorenzo will not like that one bit. How can Lorenzo fight back? Has Marquez been saving something up his sleeve as they come across the line? Cheers, you can see Marquez already a hero this season for his superb performances. He dislocated his collarbone this morning, and now he's leading the British Grand Prix.
He's got the hammer down into Cop's corner. Marquez leads for the first time. Is anything Dani Pedrosa can do? Jorge Lorenzo's done all the work at the front, but Marquez chasing his 5th successive Grand Prix victory.
Lorenzo trying everything he can now to stick with the young rookie. It gets close. Lorenzo just carries that corner speed every single time as they come onto the hanger straight for the last couple of laps. He's been completely outpaced by the Honda down here. However, this time he's much closer going into the corner and will carry good pace. Look how close he's going to get, carrying that pace through up towards Vale. Has Lorenzo got anything to be able to attack on the inside? Here he comes into Vale. Lorenzo's going to lead. He's not going to give an inch as well to Marquez. Lorenzo takes the lead once more. 1.5 laps to go.
Almost side by side, they come out of the club corner onto the old start and finish straight, up towards Abbey. What a battle it is!
Dani Pedrosa thinking about getting through perhaps on Marquez. Great move from Lorenzo. He lined that up before he went into Stowe, just knew by carrying the pace through into Vale he had the edge. They come into the tightest portion of the circuit. In that second sector, Lorenzo looked great, didn't he? That's where he has the edge. Now, this is perhaps where a Honda looks that bit stronger.
Well, he certainly could have, so by surprise down at Brooklands last time round when Marc Marquez took the lead for the first time. That's where they're coming now. They're coming onto the back straight. What has Marc Marquez got left? Can he squirt the Honda up the inside of Lorenzo? Lorenzo makes it very, very difficult for him.
Keeping that pace rolling all the time, Lorenzo. Marc Marquez thought about it, had that tighter inside line going into Brooklands this time. The crowd are on their feet when they cross the line through Woodcote this time. There will be 1 lap to go in the British Grand Prix. 5.9 kilometres, 3 2/3 of a mile.
In they come to Copse for the very last time. Lorenzo leads the way, the current world champion. The championship leader, Marc Marquez, in second place. We have a fall.
Dovizioso has gone down. Dovizioso down from 8th place. Hayden now up into 8th, Smith into 9th. So I wonder if that was a collision between Smith and Dovizioso, because Hayden seems to have been able to take advantage and move up a spot.
Time is running out for Marc Marquez. Anybody else would settle for second place with that championship lead. He won't. Down towards Stowe they come for the last time.
You've got to think it's all going to be about Brooklands on this last lap. Lorenzo should be stronger coming up towards Vale. Bautista has got back in front of Valentino Rossi, but down towards Stowe, down on the hanger straight. Rossi dives for the inside, but Bautista stronger on the brakes. Rossi, can he do a Lorenzo-style move into the chicane as they come down? This is the battle for 4th place. Not this time. Bautista's going to hang on at the front. Still Lorenzo leads, but Marquez is close. Rossi can't get through on the exit. Still, as they dive through into Abbey, Lorenzo hanging on.
Through the farm curve they come. It's gonna come to that final complex. Marquez closes up as they come into Village Corner, into the loop. He's gonna line him up at Brooklands when they come off the back straight. What has Lorenzo got left into the tank? Round the entry corner they come.
Oh, you just
quarter of the race lap left.
You saw Marquez trying to just get as much squirt as he could out of that section. Oh, Rossi has gone through on Bautista. Meanwhile, at the front, Marquez dives for the inside line. Marquez has got it and he's hanging on. Into Luffield they go. Is there any way round for Lorenzo, who has the inside? Forces his way through Luffield into Woodcote. It's going to be a drag to the line between the Yamaha and the Honda.
Jorge Lorenzo surely is going to do this one. Jorge Lorenzo wins an incredible battle here at Silverstone. Marquez in second place, Pedrosa third. It doesn't get better than that.
You don't get better than it all going off in the last couple of corners. Amazing stuff from Lorenzo. How much did he want it? Well, you saw right there. He rode through the inside of the curb pretty much, coming across the line. Stunning stuff from Lorenzo, trying to stamp his authority on being the world champion.
Wow, what a ride by Lorenzo. What a ride by Marquez. Crossing the line, we have Stefan Bartle 6th, Cal Crutchlow in 7th place, Nicky Hayden 8th, Bradley Smith in 9th, but the headlines would be about two people.
Well,
Jorge Lorenzo and Marc Marquez.
You can't say how incredible that was from Marquez. You just can't quantify it. Espargaro is going to be top CRT. Marc Marquez riding that dislocated shoulder from this morning, but Lorenzo came up with something, paid him back for Jerez almost as he went into. He knew Marquez was going to have to go deep in Luffield, and he just kept the pace going. Lorenzo trying to get hold of him to shake his hand, and thumbs up from Marc Marquez. He knows he's been in the battle, and I bet he enjoyed that one.
And I bet the pain is absolutely coursing through his body now. The adrenaline is suddenly going to stop. Yamaha fought back. Will it be enough? Well, it hasn't reduced the lead in the World Championship by a great deal, but psychologically, that is a massive result. Let's look at it again.
Well, Lorenzo took the inside line down the straight, then Marquez dived and took the inside, but going in, carrying so much pace, he knows he's going to run it deep, and that's just enough for Lorenzo to squeeze his way through. And from now on in, it was about how much power could be laid down, and Altamora knew it, didn't he? He knew it as Lorenzo came through. It wasn't going to be enough. Yaistay says, that's enough, that's it. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Watch this again from Lorenzo.
Just got that extra bit. He puts the space, and rather like Jerez, he pinches the space that he wanted. Marquez, no way is he going to take that space, and he's won the race. And we are breathless. We're running out of voice.
Well, two fantastic races already.
Great MotoGP races.
First win for Lorenzo since the Barcelona Grand Prix back in June. That means a lot to him, and they know they've been treated today. Nothing Pedrosa could do. Lorenzo may have only taken 5 points back. Still, the gap is 39. In fact, Marquez is going to extend his lead over Pedrosa to 30 points. So, is Marquez going to be that disappointed after having had the injury this morning?
Yes, because you know what he's like.
Well, for winning races.
He just wants to win races. But an incredible performance by Marquez. I mean, when we saw the crash, let's be honest, me in particular thought, no way he will ride in this race. He has done. He's finished second. Against anybody else, he'd have probably won, but Lorenzo was not going to give that up.
Got to be in agony.
I think he is now. It didn't shake Lorenzo's hand. He couldn't, could he? So gave him a thumbs up as if to say, no, it's the left side. You can see now. He's holding it. Where will the bravery end for all these riders? We've seen Lorenzo ride injured, we've seen Pedrosa, and now Marc Marquez following.
Watch
suit. Lorenzo,
watch the line here. Look how he's sliding. Look at that, just almost touching the Armco on the inside there. Big thumbs up. A good see, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, absolutely. Well,
fair fight, fair battle.
Terrific fight. OK, we go back to 79. Robertson Sheen through that Woodcut corner. That equalled it, or perhaps was even a little bit better than it.
Stunning race. Didn't we say about the Yamaha being close to running out of fuel? Well, Rossi used so much on that last lap, he has run out of fuel.
3 successive fourth places, but this is what it means to Jorge Lorenzo.
And you see the applause from Marc Marquez as well. Sportsman, he's got all the attributes, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Sportsman to the last.
Beaten fair and square in one of the great Grand Prix battles of the last decade. Absolutely superb. Thank you, Silverstone, for the circuit, but wow,
we
what a
thought it
race.
might get spread out a little bit at one point, but no. There you are, 3 Lorenzo fans, they'll be happy.
Oh, it's Mark, he's saying it's silent. He's still smiling. How can you do it?
Great, I'm delighted for Yamaha, actually, because it's been a really tough time recently.
Thanks for the lift, Valentino Rossi says to Cal Crutchlow. It'll be a disappointed Cal Crutchlow.
He's gutted. Couldn't do it for his home fans, but he still gets a rousing applause from the British crowd.
He doesn't seem totally affected in pain or anything, does he, Marquez? Well, and Lorenzo, that was one of your great Grand Prix victories, and I'm sure Gavin's going to ask him that. That's got to be right in the top drawer from him, isn't it? Fourth again for Valentino Rossi.
I think he's worn out in his battle with Alvaro Bautista, but well done to Bautista once more for holding up another battle. He's come out worse. Lorenzo, I think he just said to hold your shoulder, and Mark says, well, yeah, you know.
Guys, I'm just down here with Lynn Jarvis from Yamaha. Lynn, would you describe that as one of Jorge's best rides ever?
Yeah, I mean, really, he was perfect from the beginning until the end, and you know, I was astonished, to be honest, by Marquez's pace. Was extraordinary considering the accident he had this morning. Jorge did everything right, but what a race, you know, for MotoGP to see that sort of competition. It's fantastic, and thank God this time we came out on top.
We've seen Jorge a bit frustrated recently. Do you think this is the mental boost he's needed?
Without doubt, this track is generally good for us, so we won here, happy for that. Misano is normally a good track for us, but we needed this. You know, we had to stop, I said yesterday, we had to stop the Honda train. And today, Jorge, one-man show, he did just that. So we need to continue working on our bike and hopefully give him some tools that will give him just a little bit extra help, and we're working on that.
Does that mean that the seamless might be there in Misano?
I think the sun will be shining in Misano.
Okay, thank you very much, Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn. That was a great...
Oh, it was a farm, wasn't it? Dovizioso.
He was lucky he didn't get hit by Bradley Smith.
Yeah, also, Smith was probably forced to sit up, and Hayden
took advantage, yeah.
Was that where he went out last year?
Dovizioso certainly crashed out of the race last year, yeah.
There?
May well have
was
been.
Abbey, it might have been. Anyway, it was around that section of track.
Well, take a breath. Lorenzo, Marquez, Pedrosa, and the battle at the front between Lorenzo and Marquez in Woodcut Corner. Unbelievable. Just fabulous, fabulous stuff.
0.08 of a second separating the championship leader from the reigning world champion. Danny Pedrosa a further 2.5 seconds behind, and Rossi, you can see, 13 seconds down.
Stefan Bradl, a bit of a lonely ride for him in the end into 6th place. Cal Crutchlow disappointed after all the problems this weekend. Nicky Hayden and Bradley Smith having a good battle, but Smith a little bit unlucky, I think, when Dovizioso went down in front of it. Still a good ride by him. Aleix Espargaro, as always, top CRT in 10th place.
Yeah, just once this year he hasn't been top CRT. Iannone coming through, and actually Pirro right at the end, taking Barbara and Edwards. He was right down in 15th and coming through.
Petrucci, that final point in the championship.
Pirro is ahead of Iannone in the championship.
That's an interesting situation, isn't it? Obviously, Iannone has had his
of
injuries,
course, but Pirro hasn't ridden every race either.
No, he hasn't, no. Well, Silverstone, you've hosted some great events on 2 and 4 wheels over the years, but that really must be very near the top. The championship, well, it doesn't make that much difference. I suppose he's increased his lead to 30 points over Pedrosa, and Jorge Lorenzo's pulled 5 points back on him. But let's forget the championship for a minute. Let's just savor such a fabulous, fabulous race. Aleix Espargaro confirmed there as top CRT. Bradley Smith did get in front of him, I think, after Indianapolis, but behind him, but that's pretty tight as well. Poor old Ben Spies down in 18th place. We do hope to see Ben back in action before the end of the season.
Carl Abraham, of course, absent as well here this weekend. He'll hope to be back in Misano in 2 weeks' time. I think we need a break after three on the run.
And then a race like that.
And a race like that. We've still got Moto3 to come, of course, this afternoon at Silverstone. But, wow, that circuit has really helped us as well today with its layout. All those fast corners, keeping them all in touch. And then some just superb moves.
2 superb races we've seen so far, Moto2 and MotoGP. And Moto3 very rarely lets us down, does it? I think he's pretty pleased at winning that one. And was that a clap of the hands? Yeah, look at that. That's genuine sportsmanship, that is.
Well done.
Yeah.
Really good from Marquez.
Yeah.
That's it's really, as you say, genuine sportsmanship. And Lorenzo rightfully enjoying it. Pedrosa and Marquez shake hands as well.
I think Danny Pedrosa will be a bit disappointed, don't you? They've worked hard at Yamaha. Will that seamless Mission be ready for Misano. There's a day's test, isn't it, after Misano, where you'd think they would test it thoroughly. Perhaps it would be arrogant we see it for the first time. Yeah, CRT classification. He's running away with it, but Colin Edwards and Hector are involved in a very good fight for a second place. But Aleix Espargaro surely will be rewarded. Forward racing, we think it's going to be, don't we, next season for him on the Yamaha.
On the Yamaha package with the standard software.
And probably the man that's just behind him, but in second place, Colin Edwards may get that second row. It'd be fantastic.
Sounds like it. That's the noises coming out of there. I do hear there's a big clause actually for Aleix Espargaro if he wants to leave Aspar. So it's about 600,000 euros as the talk.
Just ring Gavin's bank manager. He'll sort that out for him. Yeah. Michael Lafferty, he'll be disappointed in scoring any points today. I think Michael Lafferty has got experience at Silverstone, but this fast circuit makes it very, very hard for the CRT bikes.
Finished ahead of his team,
Yeah, he did, which I suppose is always your first object, isn't it? Well, the podium beckons, and I tell you, they're going to get a really big round of applause. They came here, the British fans, wanting to see Cal Crutchlow on the podium, but they know their motorcycle racing in this part of the world, and they will appreciate they have seen one of the great motorcycle races of the last decade.
Fourth win of the season for Lorenzo. It's just that race in Germany. Imagine if he
hadn't crashed,
took part in it and picked up some points.
If he hadn't crashed, then
ifs, buts, maybe, yeah,
that's right. This is Rossi getting past Alvaro Bautista to claim his fourth place in succession. Oh, this is great stuff.
This is down the straight now. You can see Bautista was trying to run it round to keep the pace going. But Rossi then into Brooklands, and Luffield will close the door.
And he's been involved, isn't he, Bautista, in those three races for fourth place. He's come out just behind on every occasion.
Bautista, exactly there. Look at the pace he's running, actually, as they come up towards the line.
Halfway through that would get, I really must have fancied his chance of getting Rossi there.
Superb performance. Marc Marquez just walked 4 hours ago, dislocated that collarbone.
Well, here we are. I think there'll be very special trophies, especially for Jorge Lorenzo. What a victory by the world champion. He ain't going to give up this championship without one hell of a fight. It is a big gap still. It is very, very hard for him, 39 points. But as we saw that happen today, things can happen.
Second position to Marc Marquez. And the winner on reclaiming British Grand Prix, Lorenzo's won. Jorge Lorenzo.
Third win here at Silverstone for Jorge Lorenzo. Loves this place, doesn't he?
3 wins in 4 years, isn't it? That is pretty impressive stuff. Been joined by Aleix Espargaro, ready to celebrate with the others who are on the podium. What a ride by him as well, but right. Congratulations to Yamaha. I won't say they're back in the fight, but they've shown Honda they ain't going to give up with one hell of a battle. I think a slightly disappointed Danny Pedrosa, but he had to work hard to get up to third place, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, you can see that. I think the start of the race cost him.
Marc Marquez in second place. Well, he didn't make it 5 in a row, but popped out collarbone, dislocated, whatever you want to call it, and he fought to the very last inch of the track.
Incredible.
But this was vintage for Jorge Lorenzo.
Was the reigning world champion. He's won 2 of them for a reason, you know. Thoroughly deserving of the 25 points in the trophy here at the Hertz British Grand Prix. Race winner, Jorge Lorenzo. Over 73,000 fans have enjoyed 2 great races so far, but that's one of the best finishes we've ever seen here at Silverstone. That will go down in the annals of history, definitely. Great win, great battle. Sunglasses on, you don't want to get champagne in your eyes. Oh, the cameraman almost got caught as well.
And I think Lorenzo wanting to give everybody a good soaking. Oh, we've seen last week in particular at Bruno where he finished 3rd, he was so disappointed because I think he felt he couldn't ride better than that. Special day for Yamaha.
Well, I think he felt that yesterday as well.
Yeah, in qualifying,
when he gave up pole, or Marquez snatched pole from him.
So a slug of the champagne. And they'll be with us pretty quick. It's not far, is it, from the podium to join Gavin. It'll be interesting to hear what they say. I think they will all say that was one very special race.